underneath it. So if you look at the different colors separated out into their bubbles, you've got in one group the activity processes of creating, delivering, and exchanging. You've got concepts of value, satisfaction, and profit. And then you've got the idea of the structures that create this, the set of institution, and then the stakeholders, the customers, clients, partners, and indeed society at large. So going into a bit more detail of that, if you think about the processes, the red stuff, what kind of things would constitute the processes in marketing? Well, we've got things like customer and market research, which we mentioned previously, brand and product development and indeed management, operations and logistics management, so that relates to the value chain, the supply chain and the value chain, and symbolic production and interaction. That's to do with our consumer behavior and how we relate to brands. Ideas of value, satisfaction, and profit, that's to do with wants and desires and how we create what kind of expectations customers have for our products and services, and then how we deliver on those expectations. And you can see that the definition attends to the fact that marketing has a role to play in society at large, and not only necessarily for its narrower, more narrowly defined customers and clients. Now, the marketing mix is the quintessential marketing phrase, often called the 4 Ps. Now, the 4 Ps are a good example of something that seems like common sense in theory, but is complex and challenging in practice. And getting the marketing mix right is essential to a product, brand, or even entire organization sustainability and success. So these 4 Ps are, as listed, product, price, place, and promotion. And we'll go through these and look at really what kind of questions would a marketer ask themselves in relation to each element of the marketing mix. With a product, they would ask things like, what does the customer want from our product or service? What needs does the product or service satisfy? What features does it have to meet these needs? Are there any features we've missed out? Are we including costly features that the customer won't actually use? That's a point about the business case, the value proposition. How and where will the customer use this product? What does it look like, and how will customers experience it? What size, colors, shapes, and so on should it be? What should it be called? How should it be branded? How is it differentiated in relation to the competition? And what is the most it can cost to provide and still be sold sufficiently profitably? You can also think about that in relation to price, i.e., what is the maximum price the market will bear in order for us to make the most profitable business from this? When thinking about price, we would ask questions like, what is the value of the product or service to the buyer? Are there established price points for products or services in this area already? Is the customer price sensitive? So will a small decrease in price gain you considerably extra market share, or will a small increase be indiscernible and so you gain extra profit by doing so? What discounts should be offered to trade customers or to other specific segments of your market, i.e. a specific price strategy? And how will your price compare with your competitors? Now, place is one of these things that looks obvious but is more complex than it seems. But we would ask questions like, where do buyers look for our product or service? If they look in a store, say what kind of store? Is it a specialist store, or is it a broad range supermarket? Or could it be both? Do they look at it online or above the line, as we call it in real life? Do they go direct, or do they go via a catalogue or a wholesaler? How can you access the right distribution channels, i.e. how and what is the most effective way for you to get your product into the hands or in front of your customers? Do you need to use a specific sales force, or attend trade fairs, or make online submissions, or send samples to things like catalogue companies? And finally, what do your competitors do, and how can you learn from what they do and where they sell, or how can you differentiate from that? Finally, promotion. Where and when can you get your marketing messages across to your target market? i.e., how do you get your target market's attention? Will you reach your audience by advertising online, going via the press, on TV, radio, on billboards on the side of a road? By using, say, direct marketing mail shots like email, through PR, that's public relations, promotions, or on the internet? When is the best time for you to promote your product? Is there, say, seasonality in the market, the classic example being summer holidays? Are there any wider environmental issues that suggest or dictate the timing of your market launch or subsequent promotions? Say, for example, other specific events like Christmas or things that are governed by religious or specific holidays. Now, how do your competitors do their promotions? How does that influence your choice of promotional activity? Fundamentally, often what marketing processes are trying to achieve is telling us about something being faster, bigger, stronger, thinner, lighter, heavier, cheaper, more expensive even if it's a luxury product. It's often about being different, achieving that point of differentiation. It could even be achieved through packaging the exact same stuff in a novel way. And that's called the purple cow effect, which is essentially what it says in the tin. If we all have a general expectation of what a cow should look like, and then we drove past a field of purple cows, then our attention would be drawn. A successful example of this being done in the marketing world was Silk soy milk. Now, the people who make Silk soy milk, and most of any other example of soy milk, is manufactured in powdered form. And it used to be only available in the dry goods section of a supermarket. It was sort of a specialist product. We all today recognize soy milk as being something that's widely available. You can go down to Starbucks and get a soy milk latte. When silk was being manufactured, it was being put in cartons during dairy manufacturing downtime. So the manufacturing line wasn't being used for anything else, and Silk decided to take advantage of that by getting their soy milk packaged in milk cartons for cheap, because the production line wasn't being used anyway. And that resulted in them distributing their soy milk in milk cartons, and what they decided to do was tell supermarkets that it had to be refrigerated. So suddenly this new product was appearing side by side with the normal dairy milk that we're used to. So when you go to the dairy aisle, you're looking to pick up your milk because that's where you go to get your milk. And suddenly there's this new product called Silk soy milk. And because we understand the way in which it's presented, we know that milk should be refrigerated and appear in a carton. The fear, if you like, among consumers about picking up this new kind of milk and trying it was reduced. And suddenly the sales of Silk soy milk took off. They skyrocketed by essentially using the purple cow effect. Another way of doing the same thing is being done when you're buying your soy milk latte, is what Starbucks are doing with asking the customers for their names. Now, they don't need to know your name, and the amount of people that walk through a Starbucks every day and the amount of shift changes with staff, perhaps there's not much chance of them really learning your name. But that feeling of them knowing your name and the fact that they're the first company to do it differentiates them. And you can see here it gives them a chance to be slightly humorous.